first head coach hire of this coaching cycle, coming just one day after their previous head coach, Bill Belichick, was announced to be leaving. Also, we have a general manager hired in Washington. There's a lot to break down on this great Feel-Good Friday. One half of the hammer, Dahn. Cowboys, Tone Diggs is here. Tone, with the betting, what do we need to be thinking about going into Super Wild Card Weekend? The weather game?
Yep.
Who's hot, who's not? What's it seem like the public's riding with here, Tone?
So you teased it early on the weather games. Make sure you pay attention to those weather games. Speaking of that game, the Steelers are 0-10 or 1-11 without TJ Watt. So something to look at there. Josh Allen, though, 2-6 ATS in the playoffs, but double-digit dogs have done well. The dogs as a whole have done well Wild Card Weekend, 20-10 over the last 6 seasons. So something to look at there. Your best Wild Card Weekend quarterback. Joe Flacco is 5-0 against the spread in Wild Card Weekend. He is 11-4 ATS altogether in the playoffs.
That's because people look at him and go, what's this thing? Whenever he says grass, the way he talks, they're like, this big dumb dipshit can't be good. The sports books think that Joe Flacco's going to crumble every time the playoffs come around, so they give him a favorable line. And then all of a sudden you think and you look and it's like, Joey Flacco is 11-4 against the spread in the playoffs. Joey Flacco, 4-0, 5-0 during Super Wild Card Weekend.
Going for the record as well for most road playoff wins, tied with Brady at 7 right now.
Now, on the flip side of that, C.J. Stroud is an anomaly.
And home dogs are 8-3-2 against the spread over the last 10 years. So
something's got to give. The Toxic Table is here at Ty Schmidt. Big weekend for you guys.
Absolutely huge.
Congratulations, by the way, to getting to this weekend. Whenever at the beginning of the season, middle of the season, had no idea if it was going to be possible. And now here we sit. Why not the Packers? We said it yesterday. And I saw the traction that it got around Green Bay, folks. You guys are playing your best ball. And at the biggest position, playing the best ball that they have played all year. Why not the Green Bay Packers, as we said on this Feel Good Friday?
Absolutely. I mean, in the best case scenarios, this is kind of what I envisioned. Hey, if Aaron Jones is healthy and he's toting the rock a bunch, and Jordan Love is developing, and now Jordan Love has surpassed, I think, what anyone thought he was going to do in his first season.
Exceeded expectations.
He has. Dak led the NFL in touchdown passes this year. Jordan Love was number 2, so that's not bad. Aaron Jones has rushed for over 100 yards in 3 consecutive games. He's playing his best ball. He doesn't have a whole season's worth of hits on him because he's been hurt. And then again, it's just kind of it is house money. I mean, I know like you can say that and all that stuff happens, but like it wasn't, with Rodgers a lot of times when you're watching the Packers in the playoffs, like it truly is Super Bowl or bust. And yeah, you obviously want to see them make a long playoff run, but any Packers fan would be lying if they told you they went into this season saying like, hey, Super Bowl or bust this year. Everything that I have wanted out of this season has happened, and now it is just, hey, let's go out and shock the world. Why not? No one's hotter than Jordan Love right now. Yeah, Dak's playing well, but all the pressure's on the Cowboys. And now we're talking about, hey, if Big Mike doesn't win on Sunday, he's going to get shit canned. So I'm feeling great going into Jerry World. A lot of success there in the past as well. So yeah, I'm in a great mood today, and I'm very excited for this weekend.
There's always a lot of pressure whenever you're wearing the star. I think we know that since the beginning because of how great of a promoter Jerry Jones is. But the pressure is going to be on the Packers defense.
Absolutely.
And Hembo sent me some stats here. Dallas's team total for this game, 29.5, highest of any team playing this week.
Wow.
Okay, so Dallas is expected to score the most amount of points. Now, obviously, it's indoor, in a dome, in their house where they've been a buzzsaw. But that Packers defense has obviously been the most concerning thing for the Green Bay Packers all season, even though you got a first-year starting quarterback. Packers defense ranked 27th on first down this season. So they let people get on schedule, get on script more than anybody. Maybe that changes for the playoffs, even though that's the worst, obviously, among all the teams that are remaining.
Well, and I said this to Chuck yesterday, like if it, obviously not looking ahead, but like if they were to play like a San Francisco where like, hey, they're going to just run the ball down your throat. Like I would have been very concerned, but you look at the Cowboys, like they have Pollard, but like
how's Jair Alexander's ankle?
He rolled it. Should be good to go, is what they're saying. He's still, he's probable, questionable.
Can we get him on a microphone today?
Please. Need it. But also, like their pass rush has kind of been getting home a little bit. They sacked Justin Fields 6 times. And granted, Dallas's O-line is unbelievable. But if they can get pressure, like can't just let Dak drop back and kind of pick them apart all day, which obviously is a concern. But I think the Cowboys are going to end up, like, they're going to throw it 40 times. They just are. They're not going to just pound. I mean, I guess old takes exposed if they rush for 300 yards on Sunday, but I just don't see they haven't really done that all year. So I'm a little
big Mike McCarthy would like to light up the Green Bay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a revenge game as well.
Right.
Yeah, not only is he potentially coaching for his job, which I think Big Mike has had to do literally since first season down there.
Yeah.
But also, Packers said, out you go. Mm-hmm. You think he forgets that?
No.
He might forgive. Well, he won't forget. Never, ever.
No.
Speaking of never forgetting, yesterday we got a chance to remember and relive a lot of great times in one particular city, one particular area, one particular region known as the Revolution region, about a dynasty that was created by a man who was both the head coach and the general manager for a team that'll never be duplicated ever again in professional sport.
Nope.
Especially, more specifically, in the NFL. Now, less than 24 hours later, there's a brand new head coach for the New England Patriots. Obviously, he's a one-time Super Bowl champion. Didn't get a chance to play in that game because he was injured, but an absolute dog for the New England Patriots as a player. Then he retired for a couple years. Then he came back to coach for the New England Patriots. Has been there ever since. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerod Mayo is now the head coach.
Yeah.
Former player, obviously, I'm pumped up about that. Every former player is pumped up about that. We've heard numerous free agents now allegedly go on the record and say, since Mayo's coming back, they want to come back to New England. This is legitimacy, just complete baton passover, seems like, is how everybody's viewing this. Con man, I know yesterday was a rough one.
It was.
I know yesterday was emotional.
Sure.
I know you watched a lot of those sad song tribute videos that were making their way around the internet. Hell, I even got choked up watching them. And I'm from Pittsburgh and played for the Colts. So I couldn't even fathom what you were going through. But now that we got the next one, the promised prince, if you will.
That's right. Yeah.
Jerod Mayo is now your head coach. How do you feel as a Patriot?
Fantastic. And you mentioned the sad videos. I watched them right before the show. I'm not
before the show.
I'm not just going to leave Bill in the dust.
It's been a long week.
It has been a long week, but sometimes you need those emotions. It was nice to feel that nostalgia, if you will, with Bill, and I'll love him forever, no matter what. But looking forward, I mean, this Jerod Mayo thing has got me completely rejuiced. I would say second wind, but this itself probably counts for 8 to 10 wins, if you will, in my sales. First black head coach in New England. Love that. And when you just think about the entire succession plan from a zoomed out view a little, guy started coaching in 2019. It's 2024. And the fact that Bill Belichick and Jerod Mayo last summer made their contracts so that they were both 2-year deals. So the plan was that the succession would happen after the 2024 season. Obviously, you go 4-13. That's going to expedite some things. But the fact that Bill Belichick knew, hey, this is the guy, and the fact that he was only coaching for 4 years and they still feel that confident in who he is as a coach, that makes me feel even better. You mentioned the free agent. Mark Daniels reported that he spoke to a free agent for the Patriots and it wasn't part of his plan before, but now that Jerod Mayo is the head coach, it is the number one priority to return to the Patriots. Now, is that Jalen Reagor? Maybe. Hopefully it's Kyle Duggar and Josh Uche and Mike Onwenu and some of the guys that we do kind of need to re-sign to kind of keep that team together. But like you said, too, he won a Super Bowl in 2014, didn't play, so you got to assume that fire still burns. He was part of the teams from 2008 to 2015 where they only did win that one Super Bowl. Well, that was part of the era Ninkovich mentioned yesterday for that 04 to 2014 where they had so many great teams, 18-1 team, but they didn't win those Super Bowls. So that part of it makes me juiced up, too, because he knows what it was like in that era, in the most dominant era that the Patriots...
How was he as a player?
As a player, let me think. In his first 5 seasons, he had 657 tackles. In 1 year, he had 175 tackles with 110 solo tackles. In 1 year, he was the defensive rookie of the year. His rookie year.
He is picking off Orlovsky. I was there for this. Jeff Saturday's on the field. He was not thrilled about
Bang.
that.
That's AP, by the way. That's not just some schlub. Boom.
That's Donnie Gonzalez.
Oh, what's up? Who's
Dennis
that?
Pitta.
Dennis Pitta. Dog. Fitzmagic. Sorry about it. Oh, Peyton Manning. I wonder how he played against him. Vonta. Who's that? Oh, that's Tate. I thought it was Vonta Leach. I was like, he probably ate leeches once.
No, but they
too.
didn't show the Peyton Manning highlight. I did see.
didn't.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, you know how the NFL is. They don't want to bury one of their founding fathers' sons. But still, doesn't matter. I mean, look at that. Bang. Sorry. Same one from Pitta. Looks even better in that one. Sanchez, dead. It's amazing. Like, that guy being the head coach, obviously when Vrabel was announced, I was juiced up, mostly because of the fact that if it wasn't Vrabel, it was Mayo. Or if it wasn't Vrabel, or if it wasn't Mayo, it was Vrabel. So that aspect of it in the moment on Tuesday still holds true. But I said to you yesterday in the Hawk House, I was like, hey, I'm just as pumped for Jerod Mayo to be the head coach as I am for Mike Vrabel. And the fact that we're here too, just a day later, makes me feel great, because something I mentioned yesterday was the twilight zone of not having a leader, a CEO of your team. That was weird just to experience.
I like the way the Crafts handled this quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to be a team that is without a leader for a while.
No.
We don't need anybody in the building, strength staff, trainers, equipment managers. We don't need them wondering what's next. We don't need our fans wondering what's next. So them signing the succession plan last offseason or whatever, and Bill obviously being a part of it, and Kraft, that's like, in my eyes, and Kraft hasn't had to make this decision in a long time. Hasn't had to hire a GM. Hasn't had to hire a head coach in 24 years. So a lot of owners probably look around going, must be nice. Like, everybody judges Bill Belichick for having Tom Brady. All the other owners look at Kraft, I assume, and go, must be nice to have Bill Belichick just be one person is your GM and your head coach. Because the amount of failures that have been had in hiring head coaches, GMs, that have led organizations and franchises into dumps and holes that they've been trying to dig out of for decades. Almost decades at this case. And instead, that Kraft family has had Bill Belichick for the greater part of 2.5 decades. It's like, that's a big deal.
Huge.
Now, them handling it differently than anybody else. Awesome. Like, I think Kraft is an incredibly sharp dude. When he speaks slow. I don't know why that is, if that's always how he's been, but if you listen to what he's saying, he's dropping gems. Dropping dimes, and he's being very, very transparent, I think. So I think this move solidifies the fact that I think he's a brilliant businessman and genius owner and everything like that for the success that they've had. But also it makes me think about the McDaniels situation.
Sure.
Because remember, McDaniels, years back, he was the successor. That was the conversation. That's why whenever he took the coach job, allegedly turned the plane back around, went back to New England, it's known that he's the successor. I wonder how long they've had the succession thing in contracts for people. And then when McDaniels goes and be the head coach for the Raiders, it's like, all right, we need to find new succession person. It's going to be Jerod Mayo becomes that person. It's like, I wonder when and how, and why don't others tried to duplicate this entire thing?
Yeah, so there are 4 teams that have done this before, not just with head coaches. I think it was 1 head coach, 3 GMs, where that succession plan was written into the contract so that, I mean, granted, the rules changed as far as timing goes as hiring coaches, but because of that.
Rooney rule.
Rooney rule.
You said it. I mean, he's a block man.
Which, again.
Which New England.
Definitely.
What a perfect part of the country to get to experience this on a big scale. I think New England's ready for it.
New England's ready.
2024.
Bingo. It is a new era in New England, and I think a lot of people.
Everybody was pumped about Mayo.
Everyone was pumped about Mayo. Even the people who wanted Vrabel were still like, I like the fact that they had this plan, like you mentioned, that Bob Kraft knew going in that this was going to be the deal. And some people are worried about the fact, hey, why would you fire Bill Belichick and then hire a guy from the Bill Belichick tree? Because how is anything going to change? A lot of people who have been inside the building for obviously years, Tommy Curran being one of them, Phil Perry, his guy being one of them, they have talked about how, like, this isn't going to be just Bill Belichick 2.0. Like, Jerod Mayo is a completely different person. He's not going to, act the way Bill has acted, which is great no matter what. I think New England loved the way Bill acted, and I think they are very open to a more maybe transparent, if you will, coach, pending how transparent Jerod Mayo will actually be. But I just think it's a home run. The fact that they already knew and that he's the guy, I think everybody is happy.
Feels brilliant, feels smooth.
Yeah.
Legitimately. For how smooth the smoothest it possibly could be.
Yeah. Bingo.
Whenever you're moving on from a head coach, GM that's the greatest of all time. Still have the GM role open. Be excited to see what they do. Are they going to hire within? We shall see.